The following unofficial rebroadcast of Twit Live is brought to you by Odd TV and CashFly. CashFly's global network delivers your content, ensuring your website, streaming media, and downloads exceed expectations at cashfly.com.
Is the... Oh, okay. Okay.
Now 4 will be him again in a double box. Hold on.
Hi guys, we're gonna be going live with Abbey's Road in about 2 minutes. So, this is episode 3.
Am I allowed to ask you embarrassing questions?
Yeah. Last time I had on a guest, I don't know. Oh, that's nice. That's good. If you could sit forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, or adjust the camera,
Really?
yeah.
I'm prone to slouching.
It's okay.
If I were slouching? No, I don't. People's posture doesn't bother me. In fact,
Oh, good.
students will put their feet up on the desks, and as long as they're paying attention, I don't care. In fact, I will put my feet up on the desk during a faculty meeting if I'm not really paying attention. And people have commented on that sometimes. That
Wow,
I'm,
yeah, occasionally that
but
might...
it doesn't stop me from listening, my posture. I never thought it did anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start. Welcome to Abbey's Road. I'm Abby Laporte, and today we're going to be talking to our guest Marco Moroni, husband of Megan Moroni. Yeah. Oh, damn it. Okay. Hi, welcome to Abbey's Road. This is episode 3 with Marco Moroni, Megan Moroni's husband and high school teacher. Today I'm going to ask him a few questions about his experience teaching high schoolers and what it's been like. He's taught at 3 different high schools. He teaches humanities, so that's any history electives or English classes, and also writes on the side sometimes, if I'm correct.
Yes. Often.
And let's see. So where did you start teaching? What was your first school you taught at?
Well, the very first teaching job I had was actually not a job. I had a 1-month internship during my senior year of college. So we have a January term where I went to school, and for this I taught at the local public school, and I got matched up with a really cool sophomore English teacher, and some of my friends were doing, they just had to sort of sit in the back of the room and take notes and learn something that way. But my teacher said, if you want to teach one of my classes, that's fine. And so the first thing I ever taught was Huck Finn. I had a month of classes, and I just planned it all out. And
That's cool.
yeah, through some ridiculous oversight in my own education, I'd never read Huck Finn before then, so I had to sit down and read it the first couple of days.
Wrote it, a day before the kids read it.
Right, but it was awesome. And so then after that, I got a job at a small boarding school in Massachusetts called Wilbraham and Munson Academy. That was my first job after I graduated.
And so now you're teaching at Sonoma Academy, which is where I go to school, and that's a private school with 200 students in total.
That's right. And
So you ultimately decided to teach at a private school, though.
right, and I kind of wound my way. I started the internship in the public school, then I taught for 3 years in a private school, which basically that was because you don't need any sort of certification. They'll just kind of let you go for it. And I wasn't 100% sure I wanted to be a teacher. I thought it would be fun.
Yeah, how did you choose to be a teacher, though, initially?
Well, it's just, you spend so much time in school by the time you finish your liberal arts education. And, I always liked discussions in classes. And I always thought, well, if it was my job to, get everybody on board with Huck Finn, I could do that. And so, but I didn't know if I would be any good at it or if it would be fun or anything else. I certainly wasn't out to save the world. I knew people who went in to Teach for America and had all sorts of altruistic motives for teaching. And a lot of them eventually stopped doing it. I think that's a really hard burden to carry, like I'm going to save the world. I have more faith in people who do it because they like it. It's fun.
Yeah,
And
so your reasons were because you liked the job as opposed to trying to bring something to...
Right, and I think those are nice things to happen. I mean, I think it's important to have a job that doesn't, do harm to others, and it would be nice if teaching actually helps. But I think it's more important that you love what you do or that you're called to do it. And so I sort of figured that out during my first couple years. And then I went back to graduate school for an academic degree. I got a master's degree, and I also got public school teaching certification. So I thought I would try public school, and then I did. I taught in public school for a couple years, and it was really good. But I love the kids, and it was a super teaching experience. Really fun. I learned a lot. I learned how to handle 35 kids in a classroom.
Yeah, public school teaching. I went to public school in 8th grade, and I know that it can be a very, very different environment.
Yeah,
it's like almost a different job.
Right, when I left graduate school to go and teach in public school, my one of my advisors, I went to University of Texas, and he was from Texas, and he said, "There's a special place in heaven for public high school teachers."
Oh gosh, how true that is too. Oh.
Right. So what killed me about it was that, and it wasn't even really the number of students in the room. I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
Sort of, sometimes you go in with a whip and a chair, that kind of thing. And I learned all kinds of tricks on how to manage big crowds, which...
Well, you'd have to. I mean, now it's like 40 kids too. It's getting bigger and bigger. So.
But what killed me is the amount of writing that I wanted my students to do in order to really learn something over the course of the year is a lot. And so, the amount of pages I was reading every week, every semester, with 150, 160 kids. I mean, I basically give as many. I basically give as many paper assignments now. With 40 kids that I did when I had 160. So.
Ooh, that's so impressive that you graded that much.
It was a lot. I also, I didn't have kids. I was younger and stronger, so I had other advantages. But it seemed like it was going to be impossible. As long as public school was going to look like that, public school wasn't going to be for me. And that's although I have found there is some interesting public school things going on. They're sort of like alternative schools. Schools for kids who sort of dropped out the first time around and came back.
Yeah.
I also taught creative writing at the juvenile hall in Sonoma County once a week.
What was that like?
For a year.
That
was awesome. I would,
right there.
I would do that.
Very interesting.
I would do that before I went back to a generic public school. It's sort of weirdly a throwback to the 19th century all-in-one classroom school. So one teacher teaches basically all subjects. To 30 kids.
And so they still have education requirements to fill.
They do. In fact, they go to school every day in the summer also. They don't get summers off.
Oh, so it's even more education requirements.
Right. One more reason not to commit felonies.
There you go.
But I thought it was a really, there's a lot of turnover at juvenile hall. It's about 21 days is the average stay. So like every day there's a different group of kids. Some of them just got there. Some of them have been there for months because they're in the middle of a trial for some violent crime, and other ones are leaving tomorrow. And so it's an almost impossible task.
Yeah, because when you're teaching kids, you're trying to, especially kids in juvenile hall, you want to bring them something. I mean, I don't know, do you feel like there's a particular goal that you're trying to reach with, or especially with those kids? Was there something you wanted to get across?
I definitely felt like there was more at stake. I mean, a lot of the kids that, I was teaching creative writing, which for a lot of them was really interesting because they certainly had stories to tell. Many of them were really inhibited by the amount of writing they had done. They're grammatically, that was just really hard for them to get it out. But I definitely felt like there was a little bit more at stake. It was hard in any number of ways that as a teacher you measure difficulty. So, but it was the easiest explanation I can make is to say that it was sort of like teaching the first day of school at a brand new school, a class you've never taught before, with kids you don't know, every single time I went. It was really, I had to reinvent the whole idea.
How long were the classes? How did you do that?
I had about an hour. I could take longer if I wanted, but it was usually just me and 3 or 4 kids.
Oh, okay. So at least it was really
right. It was a
specialized
subset. This was outside of their normal school day. So this was kids who actually, I would come in.
Did they sign up for it?
Right. Well, sort of. I mean, like I would come into the unit, and some of the staff who worked there, who were by and large like terrific, by the way. Although there's the one person I'm going to tell a story about now was like a little less than terrific, but the staff was great. And really accommodating when I was super freaked out at the beginning, and then eventually
Which I'm sure would be a natural
they got to know me,
there.
and you show up, and you have to go through all these security measures every time, and there was a lot of like, hey, what's up? It was great. But one time I came into this boys unit, and I said I'm here to teach creative writing, and this one of the staff members said, hey, it's time for creative writing, and some of the guys were like,